What up and welcome to 101 Ways of Being. I'm Julia. I'm happy that you've made it to my little corner of the multiverse. This is the 11th episode, and today we are talking about moving through the motions and what it means to process what we go through in our lives and maybe get out of our head a little bit through movement and the space that can take up in your life. So before we get into this episode, just wanted to give a little reminder, if you like it, make sure to click the like button. If you want to be updated on future episodes, hit the follow or subscribe button. A little bit goes a long way if you share it with a friend, whatever you feel like doing. I also send out a newsletter with each new episode, so you can go to my website 101waysofbeing.com, and there's a little button at the top that you can press to subscribe, and then so you'll be able to stay updated. And also, if you're not seeing those emails and you are subscribed, you can always check your spam folder. It might end up there. And, like a lot of other people say, add 101 Ways of Being at Gmail to your contact list so you don't miss any of those emails. I'm also hopefully going to be getting back into the Patreon that I created a couple months ago. I haven't really been posting much on there because there's just a lot of moving parts going on in life right now. But in 2022, I definitely plan to start getting a lot more on there. But for now, if you want to support the show, you can consider donating a tip through there, or you can sign up to be a monthly subscriber. Whatever amount you feel like doing, $1, $5, $7, kind of just helps me break even and to continue to make this show better and better and bring on more guests. All those things, every little bit is so greatly appreciated. Yeah, I really wouldn't, like everyone says, I wouldn't do this if it weren't for my listeners, but it's you guys that give me the encouragement to keep doing this, even when I doubt myself, because there are lots of moments that I doubt myself. I think that's a pretty normal thing that a lot of us experience. Moving and working through the weeds of your emotions. What moves you when sometimes all we want to do is sink and float away? When all you'd wished to be is whisked away with the wind? What if you found your own way to stir the wind? Your own way to fan the flame? How can we move on or even start to heal from the things that have pained us and rebuild that strength, bring back that shine we may have lost? My theory is movement. If you're looking for a way to heal within, but then you end up finding ways of connecting outside of yourself with other people as well. And what I mean by movement is there's so many different things that fall under that category of movement. But I like to start with the definition of movement. Movement is defined on Edam which I'll have a link down below where I got my information from. But the definition of movement is a change of position, passage from place to place, exercise, starting something. From the Latin word mover, I know I'm pronouncing a lot of things wrong, but to move, set in motion. And it also mentions, it comes from the pi root for the word mu, which means to push away. And then there's the movements that have a little bit more of a denser definition, if that's the right way to use dense. I don't know, because I feel like dense can have bad connotations as well, but just something that has a little bit more to it. So in the musical sense, a major division of a piece. And then there's also a collective effort, like a civil rights movement, doing something for a cause, whether that's social, environmental, or you're a part of an artistic movement. And so I find it interesting that that is the word that's used, because it's, there's this collective cause to move us forward and create more balance from the powers that be. And movements are, that's how we've gotten to the point that we are today, whether that's good or bad. There's always good or bad, good and bad. But then also with it being a division of a piece of music, it's just something that's so powerful. I don't know. And then there's movement medicine. And there's a lot of different things that fall under this category, like walking, jogging, flow arts, like hula hooping, spinning poi, just belly dancing. And, a lot of these things come from different cultures, and they have these roots in culture from around the world. And of course, it's important to honor all of those things when we're, learning a new hobby or incorporating one of these things into our life. I do think it's important to honor the roots and honor the history, and at least educate yourself on it a little bit, if you're new to something. I'm not going to get too into that right now, but anyway. So along with movement medicine, there's swimming and breathing meditations, feeling how the breath moves through your body. And when you're doing these things, it's, you're getting more into your body and a little bit more out of your thinking mind. And you can really feel, how does the energy move throughout your body? Because I feel like you can really release something when you get into this flow state. And it's so, I don't know, it's such a cool feeling. I feel like I connect with myself in such a deeper way. And it doesn't happen every day. But, things like roller skating and jogging, if you're someone that loves to run, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not a runner, but I think it's really similar to, when you do have a hobby that is movement-based. And aside from, it moving the energy around in your body, it also allows you to learn new things and to grow your brain, go down some new neural pathways and whatnot. Because you're learning something that you didn't know before, and you're incorporating something new into your day. So there's no way that can't shift other areas of your life. For example, when I started hooping, I couldn't even waist hoop. I couldn't do anything with it. And now I'm practicing for 4 years or so. It's like, we sometimes forget what it's like when we are a beginner. But again, with honoring the different paths of life, honoring yourself when you are a beginner as well. And when you first start something, when you first start going for a run every day, you might not be able to go very far at first. You might not be able to go very fast. You have to listen to your body and know that endurance is something you build, and it's a practice. And even just doing something for 10 minutes a day is golden. And then if you build it up a little bit more and you start to feel stronger and stronger, you gain this strength from movement. So maybe some or all of these things that I mentioned can be practiced to help us move through heartache. Or even when we're going through a really good period of our life where we feel really grateful and there's a lot of abundance. It can just be a way of expressing yourself. Well, no matter what you're going through. How do you process it? I also wanted to quickly mention the health benefits of movement. And I'll link a couple sources down below because we're not going to get too deep into the science of it because I'm no scientist and no expert on this, but movement and movement medicine and taking that time to get your heart rate up and doing something you really enjoy can reduce your stress levels, helps boost your immune system, promotes feelings of peace, increases your concentration for whenever you go back to the tasks that you're working on, connects you to your mind, body, and spirit, and deepens your awareness of yourself and others. When I was planning this episode and, developing it from just movement, I'm like, how do I, say what needs to be said and honor what needs to be said out loud? I checked in with my tarot decks, and I'll include a picture because the cards are put away because that was a few days ago I did that reading. Side note, I actually recorded this episode last week, but I messed up the audio, so this is try 2. Cards that I pulled were Wheel of Fortune, Chariot, 3 of Swords, and Strength. So I'd like to read some of the notes that I took away from that reading and how it ties in with this episode on movement. At times in your life, you may feel suspended, as if you're hanging from the branch, struggling to see how things could change. You may be on the struggle bus side of the wheel, dealt more and more challenges, or you could feel very fortunate for the blessings that are coming about, especially when you least expect it. If you feel as though you were suspended, hanging from the branch of a tree by a red rope, suspended in the air, stopped from moving, that's what the Wheel of Fortune in our lives can feel like, as if there is something that keeps us from moving forward. I've been thinking about the Wheel of Fortune a lot lately because it's my year card, and I've been really lucky to have a lot of fortune. I've been, a lot of different part-time jobs sort of came about when I was least expecting it. I've been saving more money than I have in the past, and so in a way I feel like I'm on, not to like gloat or anything, but this year is a year that it's like I do feel more fortunate, but I think that you can also be on the other side of the wheel where it's like, man, when am I gonna see some light at the end of the tunnel? So I just think it's interesting how we can interpret the cards in a different way depending on what's going on in our lives. But anyway, what really actually got me thinking, I guess I will pull out one card. So what got me thinking more about seeing the Wheel of Fortune in this way is this card from the Elemental tarot deck that I got recently. Because I find it very interesting because it is, it's focus. Okay, so it is suspended in the air, right? And it's like, this wheel, it's not rolling, it's not moving, it's staying there. And also there's this fruit that's split open in half, and one side has the seed or the pit, whatever, and the other one doesn't. And I find that interesting as well, how it can be sort of one or the other, or maybe it's a little bit of both in our lives, right? There's these different areas of our life where sometimes it feels like, oh, we're so fortunate with all these abundant blessings. Then on the other hand, it's like, oh man, but I still don't feel like I'm moving forward in the direction that I want to. Or I feel like a fish out of water. Or, the sky is cloudy and we can't see what lies ahead. Despite this, we can still trust that you're being in the guided in the direction to your higher self and stepping into your best self. If you understand that sometimes you're going to feel stuck in life, even at the same time that things feel like, or things are changing. Because I think everything just feels like it's moving so fast sometimes in the world around us, and we feel like we have to be doing things all the time, and then it needs to be done quickly. And one of the lessons I've learned is that things don't always happen right when you want it to happen, but it doesn't mean it's not gonna happen, right? It's patience. Patience is one of the hardest lessons for me, and it's one that I continue to be slapped in the face with. Is like, girl, you just gotta be patient sometimes. But when you're feeling impatient, what can you do with that energy? Well, sometimes all we need is to rest. On the other side of the coin, if you're anything like me at all, you need to do something to reactivate, to stir up and rekindle the fire inside, to find passion and purpose again. No matter what, even if our lives feel at a standstill, forces outside and within ourselves keep on moving. You may return to places and people that you never thought you would again, but I like to think of that as an opportunity to look at something with an altered perspective than what you had in the past. Because there may still be something to learn there, something you didn't see before. The times that movement has helped me the most is during the most difficult periods of my life. Healing from heartbreak while grieving, when I'm overwhelmed by work or school or whatever. It's a gift to be able to engage in a different part of the brain and body than the thinking mind. So while a big part of what I'm talking about is movement medicine and getting that blood in your body moving again, also talking about, moving spaces, picking up and moving to a new place, and what that feels like, putting yourself in a different environment, gives you these chances to meet new people and learn new things. And maybe fall in love again. Maybe fall in love again. Just another way of getting your heart beating in a new way. There is a balance of rest and rejuvenation, as well as a balanced spirit, mind, and body. By getting yourself to go for a walk or simply stretching your body for a few minutes in the morning, especially when you don't feel like it. Unless you are physically unable to do something, it may just be your mind stopping you. I mean, I know I do that a lot. Maybe you don't have time. And sometimes that is definitely true. But also, how much are you making it a priority? To squeeze into your day, even if only for a minute? Because I really don't think it takes very long to stretch the body in the morning or before you go to bed. Just saying. And when you're on the Wheel of Fortune, like a carousel, you may feel, or you will feel upside down at times. Like you're the opposite of where you wished you were. You'll have a hard time seeing the other side of things. But you can trust that change, whether good or bad, is always inevitable. What's meant to be will be. Que sera, sera. Like in Italian. What will be, will be. What will be, will be. We are moving through space and time, guided. Honoring the duality of life, knowing that one does not exist without the other. Strength is bigger than me or you. It's what we create together by leaning on each other. Inner Inner strength does not exist without the strong forces that exist outside of ourselves. Self is a star. As cheesy or hokey as it sounds, we are all stars. Something as big as we are small. The fortune and abundance in your life always has a chance of leaving or changing, shifting, moving away, further from you, so it can be good to have a variety of tools to tend to your soul, body, and mind when things feel stagnant or overwhelming or both. Sometimes it takes a lot of self-discipline to regularly get your body moving. I mean, it usually takes a lot of self-discipline. I mean, personally speaking, like I mentioned this toolbox, and it's like, you can have all these practices, but sometimes you still get in a stagnant point where you're like, oh man, I know I could be doing all these things that would help, but I just don't feel like doing those things. And that's okay too. I think it's important to still listen to yourself when you're feeling that way and know that you won't always feel that way. And when you feel confident, or even when you don't, you can inspire others just as they inspire you. Inspiration is within just as it is outside of us. Creativity is all around. When you can clear the mind, make room on the table, clear the clutter, maybe you'll find your truth, or you'll be able to start listening to your inner voice a little more. Things will continue to change while other things don't seem to change at all. Nothing or no one goes at the same pace. You don't need to keep up with anyone but yourself. And you gain more strength with each step that you take. It's a climb just as much as it's an incline. I hope you had something to take away from this episode. At the least, maybe it inspired you to go for a walk and soak up the fall colors before the snow knocks it all down. Maybe it already has. All the more reason to find ways to warm up and keep that fire going throughout the winter. Stay warm. And may you feel more at peace with the practice and patience of your own form of movement. Like one of the characters on The Legend of Korra, the Avatar spin-off show on Nickelodeon, they said, be the leaf. And I'll leave you with that. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I hope you find some ways to move and get into your body and unwind and keep that fire going within and honor your own way of being. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you.